Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to hear me today. I want you to feel this in your bones, because what I'm about to say is not just a message. It's a wake-up call for your greatness. See, we live in a world where being average is easy. It's accepted, it's comfortable, but let me ask you something. Were you born to be average? Were you created to live a life of mediocrity, settling for what's easy, what's safe, what's handed to you? No. Absolutely not. You were born with greatness in you. You were born to be powerful, and here's the truth most people run from. Average is a choice. Oh yes, it's not something life forces on you. It's something you agree to. Every time you shrink, every time you hesitate, every time you say, I'll do it tomorrow, you are choosing average. But if you can choose average, you can also choose power. See, stepping into your power means reclaiming your life, reclaiming your mind, reclaiming your dreams. It means refusing to be defined by circumstances and choosing instead to rise above them. So today, I'm going to show you how to shake off average like an old coat that no longer fits. How to stand up, speak up, and show up for the life you are meant to live. Because this is your time, this is your moment, and you've got power, real unstoppable world-changing power locked inside of you. Let's talk about how to unleash it. The first step to stepping into your power is getting brutally honest with yourself. You've got to recognize where you've settled, where you've shrunk, and where you've allowed average to creep in and take root in your life. Because you can't change what you don't confront, and you can't confront what you don't see. So today, I'm asking you to pause and take inventory. Look at the areas of your life where you know deep down you've let things slide. Maybe it's your career, maybe it's your health, maybe it's your relationships. You know you could be doing better, living bolder, reaching higher. But instead, you've been stuck in the loop of good enough. And let me tell you something, good enough is the enemy of greatness. Good enough convinces you to stop pushing, to stop stretching, to stop believing for more. It says you should be grateful for what you have. Don't ask for more. But here's the thing. Being grateful and being hungry can exist at the same time. You can be thankful for where you are and still know you're not supposed to stay there. You've got to understand that settling for average is like watering down the full flavor of your potential. It's living with the volume turned down on your own life. Somewhere along the way, someone might have told you to play it safe. They said, don't dream too big. Don't stand out too much. Don't risk failing. And maybe you listened. Maybe you got knocked down, faced rejection, or were told you weren't good enough, smart enough, strong enough. And instead of rising, you adjusted to the pain by choosing comfort. You let those moments define your ceiling. But I came here to tell you that ceiling is imaginary. It's not made of concrete. It's made of fear. And when you recognize that, you can break through it. You can raise your standard and decide that average is no longer acceptable. Everything changes when you decide that enough is enough. You stop making excuses. You stop blaming the economy, your past, your upbringing, your circumstances. You say, I may not be where I want to be, but I'm not staying here. That's where power begins, not in having it all figured out, but in refusing to settle for less than what you're capable of. You take back control. You realize that you don't need someone to rescue you. You've got what it takes, but it starts with a decision to wake up to your own life and reclaim your standard. You've got to raise the bar. What do you tolerate in your life? Because what you tolerate, you allow to exist, and what you allow will continue. If you tolerate being disrespected, it will keep happening. If you tolerate laziness, it will take root. If you tolerate fear, it will grow stronger. But the moment you say, I deserve more, I expect more, I am more, everything starts to shift. You stop letting life just happen to you and start shaping it with intention. That's what it means to reclaim your standard. Reclaiming your standard isn't about perfection. It's about progress. It's about saying, I may not be where I want to be yet, but I'm committed to not being who I used to be. It means creating a new personal code. You stop showing up halfway. You stop giving the world a watered-down version of you. You bring your full self to the table. Your energy, your focus, your heart, your dreams. You start saying yes to the habits, people, and environments that challenge you to rise, and no to the ones that keep you small. It also means surrounding yourself with people who challenge your complacency. If everyone in your circle is comfortable being average, they'll try to talk you out of your growth. They'll say, "Why are you working so hard? Why are you trying to change?" Because deep down, your commitment to leveling up threatens their comfort zone. But you weren't born to make other people comfortable. You were born to be great. You've got to get around people who make you uncomfortable in a good way. People who remind you of who you are, not who you used to be. This is the truth. When you raise your standard, you force life to meet you at a higher level. Opportunities that once passed you by start showing up because you're finally aligned with them. You stop asking for permission and start claiming your position. You stop playing small and start walking in authority, and it all begins the moment you say, "I will not live an average life. I am meant for more." Recognizing where you've settled and reclaiming your standard is the foundation of every breakthrough you will ever have. It's not about waiting for the right time or the perfect plan. It's about making a decision, drawing a line in the sand, and saying, "This is the day I rise." Rewiring your mind. That is the single most powerful transformation you can make when stepping into your power. Everything you see, everything you experience, and everything you believe is filtered through your mindset. And if that mindset is built on fear, doubt, scarcity, or shame, then no matter how much talent or potential you have, it will never be fully expressed. Because your life will never rise higher than the thoughts you think on a daily basis. If you want to step out of average and into greatness, the battlefield is not outside. It's in your mind. You've got to fight for your future by shifting the way you think about yourself, your life, and what's possible for you. Most people don't realize they're trapped by their thoughts. They think their beliefs are facts, but they're not. They're just rehearsed conclusions. Maybe someone told you at a young age that you weren't smart, and you believed them. Maybe you failed once, and instead of seeing that as feedback, you made it your identity. That's how limiting beliefs are born, and if you don't challenge them, they become the walls of your mental prison. But guess what? That prison doesn't have a lock on the door. You can walk out at any time, but you have to decide to think differently. Your mindset is like a lens, and when the lens is dirty, everything looks distorted. You start to believe that your dream is too far away, that your time has passed, that success is for other people. But once you clean the lens, once you rewire your thinking, you realize those were lies dressed up as logic. You start to see that your past doesn't define you. Your mistakes don't disqualify you. Your current situation is not your final destination. And most importantly, you begin to understand that power has always been inside of you, just buried under layers of doubt and conditioning. Now, here's the truth. Rewiring your mind, it is not a one-time thing. It's a daily commitment. You have to wake up every morning and decide what kind of thoughts you're going to allow in your mind, because thoughts are seeds. If you keep planting seeds of fear, you'll grow a harvest of hesitation. If you plant seeds of self-doubt, you'll reap procrastination. But if you start planting seeds of belief, boldness, purpose, you'll begin to grow a life that reflects your power, not your past. You've got to start catching the lies as they come in. When that voice says you're not good enough, you say, "That's not my truth." When it says you always mess things up, you say, "That was the old me." When it says stay safe, stay small, you say, "Not anymore." You have to challenge the narrative and write a new one. One that says, I am worthy, I am capable, I am chosen, I am powerful. Because until you believe it, you'll never live it. Another key to rewiring your mind, it is what you feed your mind. You can't expect to live a powerful life while consuming powerless information. You have to be intentional about what you read, what you watch, who you listen to, and who you surround yourself with. Every input is shaping your internal wiring. So if you're constantly feeding your mind with negativity, gossip, fear, or distractions, don't be surprised when you feel stuck. But when you start filling your mind with empowering content, success stories, wisdom, and truth, something begins to shift. You start seeing possibilities where you used to see problems. You start speaking life over your dreams instead of death. That's what transformation looks like from the inside out. One of the most powerful tools in mindset rewiring is affirmations. I'm not talking about empty positive thinking. I'm talking about speaking truth to your subconscious mind until it believes it. Your brain is listening to your words. When you speak with power and conviction, you begin to condition your mind to rise. Try saying every morning, I am a person of vision, I am strong, I make bold decisions, I don't settle, I lead, I grow, I win. At first it may feel weird or uncomfortable, but keep speaking it until it becomes your truth. Speak it until your soul believes it. You've also got to understand that failure is not your enemy. It's your instructor. Average minds fear failure because they think it means I'm not enough. But powerful minds see failure as a sign they're trying, they're stretching, they're moving forward. If you want to rewire your mindset, you must shift your relationship with failure. You've got to see it as feedback, not finality. Every great person you admire has failed more than you've even attempted, but they didn't quit. They learned, they adjusted, and they kept going, and so can you. The difference between an average mindset and a powerful mindset is that average waits for proof before it believes. Power believes first, and then creates the proof. You've got to believe in the vision before you see it. Believe in the breakthrough before it happens. Believe in the person you're becoming before the world sees it. Because your mindset is not a mirror, it's a compass. It doesn't reflect your reality, it directs your reality. And when you choose to rewire it intentionally, you choose to step into a version of yourself that average could never touch. Taking radical, purpose-driven action every single day is the bridge between who you are now and who you're meant to become. It's the proof to yourself and the world that you've made the decision to stop living on autopilot and start living intentionally. See, average people wait. They wait for the perfect time. They wait for motivation. They wait for approval. But powerful people don't wait. They act, even when they're scared, even when it's messy, even when they don't have all the answers. They move because they understand something the average person doesn't. Progress doesn't come from thinking about it, dreaming about it, or even praying about it. It comes from doing something about it. Now, this isn't about hustling endlessly or grinding until you burn out. This is about purpose-driven action. It means every move you make is aligned with where you want to go, not just where you are. It means you're not just busy, you're effective, you're not just reacting, you're creating. You start each day with clarity. What actions today will bring me closer to the life I know I'm meant to live? That kind of clarity turns action into power. That kind of clarity takes you out of the crowd and puts you on a path of destiny. But let's be honest, taking radical action is hard when you're used to playing it safe. When you've been conditioned to survive instead of thrive, boldness feels foreign. That's why so many people stay in their comfort zones, even when those zones are filled with frustration and unfulfilled potential. The truth is, the comfort zone is not comfortable. It's just familiar. And if you keep choosing what's familiar over what's purposeful, you'll keep repeating the same cycle. Inspiration, hesitation, frustration, stagnation. The only way to break that cycle is to act in a way that your future self would thank you for. You've got to decide that you're going to do the hard things, the scary things, the uncomfortable things on purpose, because power isn't found in what's easy. Power lies in the stretch zone. It shows up when you wake up early to write that book, when you finally have that difficult conversation, when you put yourself out there for the world to see even when you're shaking. That's where the transformation happens. Not in the comfort, but in the commitment. Not in the perfection, but in the persistence. Taking radical action also means being consistent. It's easy to act once, to get fired up and make a move. But real power is built in the mundane, in the repetition, in doing what you said you would do long after the mood you said it in has left. Consistency is the multiplier of your intention. When you show up every day, even in small ways, the compound effect kicks in. Suddenly, those little daily wins turn into major life shifts. You look up one day and realize you've built something powerful. One decision, one action, one day at a time. You also have to be willing to take messy action. So many people are paralyzed by perfection. They want to have the perfect plan, the perfect timing, the perfect resources, but perfection is the enemy of progress. If you wait until you're ready, you'll wait your whole life. You learn by doing, you grow by going, you figure it out along the way. Taking messy, imperfect action teaches you more than waiting ever will. You gain confidence through action. You find your voice through use. You discover your strength by showing up before you feel strong. And when you take action from a place of purpose, it fuels you. You're no longer just grinding. You're growing. You're not just working. You're walking in your calling. That kind of action energizes your spirit. It makes you magnetic. It draws people, opportunities, and favor toward you. Because when you move with purpose, the universe moves with you. Doors open, resources appear, and breakthroughs happen. But none of it happens until you move, until you take that first step, and then the next, and the next, and the next. It's also crucial to reflect along the way. Purpose-driven action is not about blindly rushing forward. It's about taking time to ask, is what I'm doing still aligned with who I'm becoming? It's about being willing to pivot when necessary and adjust without quitting. Course correction is part of the process. You don't lose momentum by shifting. As long as your direction is guided by your why, your purpose is the anchor. It keeps you grounded when storms come. It keeps you focused when distractions scream. It reminds you that you're not just doing things to do them. You're building something bigger than yourself. There's a force that is awakened in you when you consistently choose action over excuses. When you stop waiting for inspiration and start becoming the inspiration. When you refuse to be a bystander in your own life and step boldly into the arena. That's what it means to take radical, purpose-driven action. It's not reserved for the chosen few. It's available to anyone willing to claim it. The difference between where you are and where you want to be isn't found in your intentions. It's found in what you do with them, every day on purpose, without apology, without delay. Absolutely. Here's a powerful Les Brown-style conclusion that ties everything together and leaves your audience fired up. So here we are. You've heard the truth not just with your ears, but deep down in your spirit. You now know that average is a choice. It's not your destiny. It's not your identity. It's simply a decision, one you no longer have to make. Because today you have another option. You can choose power. You've learned that to step into that power, you've got to first recognize where you've settled. You've got to be bold enough to say, I've been playing small, I've been holding back, but no more. You've got to raise your standard and say, this version of me is not the final version of me. Then you've got to go to war with your own mind. Rewire those old thoughts, reprogram that inner voice, and renew your belief in what's possible for your life. Because your mindset is either your prison or your passport, and you get to choose which one it will be. And finally, don't just think it, do it. Take action, not random action. Radical, purpose-driven action. Move like your life depends on it, because it does. This is your time to stop waiting, stop doubting, and start rising. The world doesn't need another person playing it safe. The world needs you, fully awake, fully alive, and fully in your power. Because when you rise, you give others permission to do the same, so make the decision. Right here, right now, average ends today.